Jana, and 9. You wanted the dirt on Tulsa. You got it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 29. My name's Scott Squires. I'm the co-host of the Tulsa Music Stream. Right here, he is Mr. 9.
Hi.
And Jana, right over here.
Hello.
Today's episode, we're going to be Zooming with Tracii Guns and Michael Sweet from Stryper and their new effort, their new band, their new record, Sunbomb. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're just waiting for them to get in the Zoom with us, and as soon as they do that, we'll go live with those guys. But we had an amazing show last night, and make sure you guys share the show and get it on your pages and all your friends' pages and all that good stuff, all your favorite rock and roll groups, and let's get some people in here and enjoy the interview with us.
For sure. We've been rocking out to the album all weekend long. It is fascinating. I do see Michael Sweet getting ready to come into the room, so let me get him in here. I'm going to go ahead and switch to our screen.
Yeah, we want to thank you guys also for purchasing our T-shirts and all that, the Tulsa Music Stream shirts, and posting his pictures. And we're going to get ready and get these guys in and have some fun talking with them. And
hey, Michael, can you hear us? I see you talking, but I do not hear you. I've got is your mic muted? Hold on, buddy. Try again, bud. Hey, Michael, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There you are. We got you now. Okay,
nice.
Excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, I've been spending a lot of time in this room that I'm sitting in at this very moment.
You look good
so other than that, I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Doesn't look like Tracii has joined the room yet. We may get things kicked off and then let him in when he gets here. Give me just a second here. We're kind of new at this Zoom thing. Michael, we've been rocking out to the Sunbomb album all weekend long. I got to tell you, it is incredible. The influences that you guys, you can hear your influences, but it also has this sound all its own. And I think, that has a lot to do with the fact that it's Michael Sweet type vocals laid over the top of, Tracii's playing. Tell us a little bit about how this collaboration came to be, and also just the process of making this album.
Well, gosh, I don't want to step on Tracii's toes. He's not here yet. But basically, the way I always understood it to be was I looked at it as a Tracii Guns solo project, although I'm finding out as we go that it wasn't that. It was more of an idea that he and Serafino at Frontiers had discussed and talked about. Tracii wrote the music and recorded all the guitars and the basic tracks, and then sent me. I think I was in a Michael's chain store, with my wife, and we were looking at some stuff at. I'm not sure if it was Halloween or Christmas time, one of the two. And he sent me a song and said, "What do you think?" And I wrote him back and said, "That's great. I love it. It's heavy." Mm-hmm. And he said, "You want to sing it?" And I thought he was just referring to the one song, and it wound up being the entire album.
Wow.
So we had to iron some wrinkles and, get through some things and jump some hoops and all those cliches. And once we finally did that, we were able to work everything out, and I was able to sing the album according to my schedule, and it was all able to work out. And here we are. We're talking about it. It's out already. I can't believe how quickly the time has passed. It's insane.
Right. Well, we're really enjoying it.
The new album is Evil and Divine is the title, and it's on Frontier Records. Tell me a little bit about the title, why you guys did the Evil and Divine.
Well, I mean, we submitted a photo to everybody, and the fans said, "Call it Evil Divine because you look evil and Tracii looks divine." And that's a joke. That's a bad joke. I think it was just one of those things where there was a song that was titled Evil and Divine. Mm-hmm. And, I'm one of those guys that always looks first at, can a song be the title?
Right.
And the title track. And I thought in that case, Evil and Divine was the perfect title. And it just so happens that everyone else agreed. We all agreed that would be a really cool title for an album. and we went with that. And it kind of it says a lot within the lyric. It says a lot within that title, and it really doesn't imply, nor should it, that one of us is evil and one of us is divine.
Right.
It's really not about that. But yet at the same time, it certainly is the case that there are two worlds colliding here with Tracii and myself. Tracii comes from a different background. I come from a different background.
Yeah.
We have different views, spiritually, politically, you name it. But we respect each other. We have the same taste in music for the most part, and we're friends. And here we are proving to the world once again, as I did with George Lynch, Todd LaTorre sang on one of my songs, proving that, opposites can attract and they could work together. We don't have to separate ourselves in this nation or in this world, for that matter.
Sure.
We're still waiting on Tracii Guns. He's having some computer issues, I think, having some issues clicking in on the link. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Mitch Davis. Now, I know he did a couple of the LA Guns albums, or helped with Tracii and everything, producing that and helping with Phil Lewis on his vocals. Did he have any kind of influence with you on your vocals on that album?
You're talking about Mitch?
Yes.
No.
I know he played bass. Is it the same Mitch Davis?
Well, I'm going to be honest. Tracy's going to have to answer that because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. There is, and I can't recall his last name, there is a Mitch that co-wrote a lot of the melodies, some of the melodies and some of the lyrics.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's the same Mitch or not playing bass.
Wow.
But regarding the vocal melodies, there were only really two songs that we stayed fairly true to the original melody on. And for the most part, it was important for me to kind of do my own thing, because when I got the demos, it was more of a higher range, kind of aggressive, gritty vibe. And that's not really what I do.
Yeah.
Okay. As a vocalist, I mean, I sing with a different style. I'm more chesty and I project more. I'm less throat and more chest.
Yeah.
And that's my style. And, when I got the demos, I wanted to stay true to the style of music, but yet do something a little different, but also stay true to myself and not try to be something I'm not. So I felt like I succeeded. Now, I don't know if that's everybody's cup of tea and if everyone agrees or if everyone likes that, but I'm singing a little bit out of my element on this album, but not so much so. I mean, I can't change who I am and what I do.
Right.
Michael,
I have my own sound, and pretty much usually when you hear me singing, it's me singing.
For sure.
Whether that's good or bad, or you like it or not, it's Michael Sweet singing. So I tried to grit it up a little bit more and do some things that were a little different for me, but not so much so that I didn't sound like myself.
Michael, when you go into these other projects that aren't Stryper, how do you approach the lyric writing? Is it the same way?
There he is.
There we go.
There's Tracii.
There's Tracii. Welcome aboard, Tracii.
Hello, Tracii.
What's
Well,
going on, man? Dude, we've been talking about you for the last 5 minutes.
Rumors.
I don't blame you. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I give Zoom lessons all day, and the one time I click a link, it's just like spinning. Trying to connect. So I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. You know what? I had a little trouble, but it didn't spin that long. But mine was spinning for a while, too.
That's weird. I don't know why. I don't know.
Welcome to the meeting. We're glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
here.
We were asking Michael about Mitch Davis, and we were wondering if it was the same Mitch Davis that helped you guys with the last couple of LA Guns records. He's playing bass on this. Is he the same guy?
Same guy. Little
Did
short guy. We have the same birthday. He's a mystery.
I wasn't sure, Trace. I wasn't sure if it was the same guy, the same Mitch.
Yeah, same guy.
Okay.
Same guy.
Did you guys, on your videos for this effort, did you guys do everything separately? Because it looks like everything was separately done, like in the video, and I'm sure you guys probably had since COVID. One's in Massachusetts and you're in LA, I believe, and you guys have to do your tracks separately as well, right?
Tracii, weren't you in like another part of the world?
Yeah, I was in Denmark.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, we did everything. I haven't seen Michael in like 2.5 years in person.
Wow.
Way before we even decided to do this record. So yeah, everything was done, very far away from each other.
Technology.
Do I look a little different since the last time you saw me? A little bit, right?
Just a little more handsome.
Yeah, he looks good with the
A little
beard.
older, that's for sure.
Well, we have a lot of people in the chat room watching you guys and listening to the interview, so this is amazing.
Yeah, and Tracii, you didn't get to hear us bragging on the Sunbomb album before you got in here, but I can tell you guys dropped this on Friday. We've been rocking it out all weekend, and I'm telling you right now, guys, some of the people of our age range have lost some of their ability, and I honestly can say excuse me, the two of you guys are playing and singing at the top of your game. And I want to direct this out to both of you, but Michael first. The fact that you're hitting these unbelievably high notes still, I want to know, do you take extraordinary care of your voice, or is this something that just comes naturally for you?
I'll be honest. I feel my voice has changed a lot. It used to be harder to sing and easier to scream. And then I went through a phase where it was easier to scream and harder to sing. That was around 1990 to 92. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like I'm back at it's easier to sing and harder to scream phase. So it's a weird thing that because I suffer from post-nasal drip and allergies, and it really does a number on me. Mm-hmm. You can probably hear it a little bit now. My voice is always a little froggy. It just does a number on me. And as a singer, that sucks.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, Michael, that's why I smoke, because I have the same problem.
Right.
And I smoke, and it's the same problem. So it's like it doesn't do anything, so at least I can blame my post-nasal drip on smoking.
Dude.
Oh.
But here's the thing, Trace, what you're saying about smoking, here's what's interesting about that. And I'm not suggesting anybody smokes or doesn't.
No, do not smoke.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is this. When you hear stories about like Dio, for example, Ronnie James Dio. He would smoke. I heard he would smoke a cigarette before he would sing.
Huh.
Yeah.
And he'd go out and kill it. And he wouldn't warm up. And then, Todd LaTorre's a good friend of mine. I don't know if he still does, but he would smoke a cigarette before he'd sing, and he'd go out and sing like a flipping champion,
It's Robert Plant. I heard the same thing, like till like 1972, 73. He smoked,
Amazing.
and then he stopped, and then things were different. So who knows?
Maybe that helped those guys with some issues they had, but I haven't found what helps me yet.
I haven't either, man. Every morning, especially when I'm in LA, I live in this jungle in like the hills.
Yeah.
Man, and ever since I was a kid, when I wake up, I'm coughing and I got this drip and it goes into my lungs while I sleep. And then in Denmark, I don't have that problem. It's weird.
Man.
I don't know.
So you guys decided to do 11 tracks on this album. A lot of it's got a little bit of some Sabbath feel to it, some Priest. For me personally, the take that I took out of it is it's like Randy Rhoads and Ronnie James Dio decided to do a record, and that's exactly, especially the second track. And
we'll take that, right, Trey?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
That would have been an amazing album had Randy and Dio and Ronnie do an album, but this is as close as it's going to get for me. And like she said, you guys are on top of your game, and some of the lower stuff that you even went to, the kind of more creepier melody, your vocal style was just like, wow, that's like, channeling Ronnie James Dio all the way.
There was even a point where he said, "Whoa, that's like King Diamond." I mean, seriously, guys, you are just killing it. And I know we already had some fans say, please ask them, are there any plans for some Sunbomb live performances?
Well, I mean, are there plans? No, there's no plans, but I mean, there's no plans really. I mean, are you guys going out? soon?
You know what, man? We had some shows booked this year and some other offers, and we made a decision because of Oz's situation,
Right.
not to take on any shows. So we're not going out. Let me take that back. We're doing a few shows. We're doing a cruise, and we're doing a few other shows surrounding that. Maybe a Puerto Rico date, but for the most part, no. But next year we're going to be touring.
Yeah, next year.
Who knows how much? And you guys are as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, but for me, you know, I've got the 15-month-year-old in Denmark, so, and I got the 12-year-old here, so it's like, I'm not planning on touring at all. But whatever, we'll get to it when that comes.
You know what's crazy, Michael, is to listen to these songs and hear you still wailing like you do. After this long, when so many other 80s singers struggle to sing their songs, you know, from 1985 or 1987 or whatever it is, and here you are still just killing it. And you know, I guess if some of those guys would have thought ahead, hey, we're going to do reunion tours in 30 years, they might have tried to make it a little easier on themselves.
I have a theory on this. Michael, who, like Phil from LA Guns, you guys sing authentically. You guys have always sung how you sing. Like you weren't trying to fit in when you're making records and like, oh man, I got to do it like this because Klaus Meine did that, and I got to do that, and I got to figure out how to get that, and then go tour 120 shows, you know, trying to replicate these voices that you guys were trying to come up with. You guys are you, and I feel that like it's like. But Tom Kiefer, you know, he's only had problems because of physical things. But then he gets them fixed, and he goes back out, and he sings like Tom Kiefer. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, so that's his natural voice. But a lot of the guys that I know you're talking about, when I see them sing, it's like they still have the physicality. You know, all the parts are in place and everything like that. But it's like trying to pretend you're double jointed, you know, day after day. Look, I'm double jointed like you, you know. Yeah. Eventually, like you're going to screw something up, you know, trying to be double jointed. Right. And you can't do it. I mean, that's my opinion.
Truly, some of them are just painful to hear trying to do it now. And just like I say, when you listen to the songs on this album, it's just like, damn, Michael, still killing it, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what, man? I tell you what I do, and it's not much, but I try to take care of myself. I don't, I don't abuse anything. You know, I drink, but I'm not an everyday get slosh drinker. Right. I smoke on occasion, a cigar, whatever, but I'm not an everyday smoker. I just try to do things in moderation, and I get my voice checked a lot. I get scoped to see if I have any, nodules or nodes or anything like that. And I've been very fortunate. And the only thing I've had trouble with is my vocal fold stiffening a little bit, but that's something that happens with age. Yeah. And what happens when they stiffen is that can decrease your range ever so slightly. And I can feel that. I definitely feel that. There's no question.
Definitely. Now I know. Go ahead.
I'm gonna be 58 years old. I'm pushing 60, so I feel like I'm still singing. Not like I used to when I was 20, but to be honest, when I listen to some of those songs when I was 20, I'm happy about the fact that I don't sing like I was when I was 20.
I saw you post that video
I'm okay
today.
with that.
Yeah. Now I know you guys had to send out a statement over the album cover. And I don't know how something like that happens. Do groups come to you and tell you all these negative things about your record company, and you got to go out there and put out fires and all this stuff? I mean, how does that happen? Because I don't know that.
It was some very strange assumption by somebody at a publication. It was like nobody else but this one person ever made any reference to that kind of thing. It's like, I feel as time goes on, especially in our country right now, people are looking for problems to things that are already solved. Right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like something's just great and working. Well, let me tell you why it's not. You know what I mean? It's kind of that mentality that floats around a lot. And we were shocked, right? I mean, we got this email from the label, like, you got to change the cover. And we're like, wait a minute. And Michael and I, we're a little bit clever. We know how to use the information, rectangle. And we got all the info on the Sun Cross and how it's been used in all kinds of different religions and things from the past. And, and Michael and I talked about the Sun Cross a long time ago, because I always wanted to use it. And there was a little issue with it, like maybe it was used, in early pagan kind of things like that. But the root of what the Sun Cross is it's a sun, and the cross is just a 4 seasons. So what it really represents is the sun. It's like, hey, we're shining light on you, live. If I burn out, you're all going to die. I mean, it's simple.
Plus, it looks like a badass heavy metal album cover.
Yes!
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I got excited when I dove a little deeper and found that it's been used as a Christian cross.
Oh, yeah.
In the past. And it's like, when you start hearing stories like, yeah, but it represents this, it's like, well, that's not really our problem, because that's not what it represents here.
Sure.
No. And in Denmark, in every, Christian, church, they use a sun cross. Every window in Denmark is a sun cross. It's just like, it's a thing, and it's nothing but positivity. That's the amazing
Absolutely.
thing.
And Tracii, what you said earlier, I'll take it a step further. It's like almost like the world we live in now, and especially here, really more so probably here in the U.S., is there's almost times when people find things that aren't there.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Always looking
like
for trouble.
they find something that's just not there.
Paul
try
is-
to make
Paul
it
is
something.
dead.
It's like, wait a minute, hold on, that's not here.
Right.
Especially with the cancel culture climate that's going on, and all that. And I know, Tracii, it's like you already had to go through a negative period, where you had to go and battle through the court of the LA Guns name, and you finally got that resolved, and then something else pops up. It's just like, you just seems like you just can't, catch a break.
Well, I mean, that's part of this. I mean, if you can skate through this business unscathed, then they say you're worthless. You know what I mean? So It's like you only have issues when people are trying to grab onto your value, right? Like, if you're important, that means you have value,
Right.
So when things, it's like the same thing as just somebody writing a crappy comment on YouTube. It's like, it's such a cliche, but it's like when somebody tries to pull you down, it's because they feel and hear that you're above them.
Yes.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, but you don't know that when you're 25, right? When we were 25 and somebody would say something, we'd be like, oh, fuck you, man.
Right. Exactly.
But as you get older, you really realize that people will latch on to you, people use you. And Michael's like me. We're super nice. We're generous, open door policy, and it'll bite you in the butt. It will really bite you in the butt.
I think that as musicians, all of us, no matter what level we're on, experience that in some way.
Yeah.
Totally. And
Absolutely.
it's about respect. You have to respect other people, and you have to realize, that most likely they have some sort of issue they're going through, and they're responding based on that, something they have to deal with in their life. And I mean, I'll respond a lot of times, and sometimes I'll I don't want to say put them in their place, but I'll answer their question,
Right.
and I'll
While
do
putting
so
them in their
always in a
place.
respectful way, but yet at the same time, sometimes it can come across as a little snarky, especially from me.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's best often to just ignore that stuff, and 9 times out of 10 I do.
Right.
This is kind of a good segue into something I wanted to ask you about, Michael. You and I share a common bond in that we have Christian faith, and we also love to play and perform heavy metal music. And we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this topic, but I'm kind of looking for some advice, I guess, and counsel from you in a way here. People in our position, we get the criticism from both sides. We get the side that doesn't possess faith, so they kind of mock us for the fact that we have it. And then you get the hyper-religious, pharisaical, very, judgmental side of the religious community that is just convinced that we're going straight to hell because we're playing this kind of music. So tell me, how and when did you kind of get to that point in your life where you said, I'm me, take it or leave it, my critics can kiss my backside? I mean, how did you get there?
Well, I think it's best. Something that was possible back in the 80s and the 90s is you didn't have to read all the comments because we didn't have the internet.
Right.
Now you have the internet, and because I'm very active on my socials, so is Tracii. We see all the comments. We see everything.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to handle those things. You really do. And some people can't, some people can. There are times when I can't. I mean, there are times when I wake up, I'm in a good mood, and I have my coffee, and I'll read a comment, and my day's shot. And that's on me, because I let that happen. But I try not to. But I think it's important, where I'm going with this is I think it's important to just try to have the tunnel vision mentality. You know, stay focused. Don't look over there, and don't look over there. Because when you do, you're gonna fall off the track and jump the track. And then you got to figure out how to get back on track.
Sure.
So it's a waste of time to deal with the negativity. Just stay focused on what your goal and vision is and getting there. And that's all that matters.
That's great.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
the same for you, Tracii, because you just recently, you're Jewish faith. And
well, I'm not faithful at all to anything, you know. So, you know, but this country we live in is based.
Wait, dude, you're faithful to Head Rush. Hold on. You got
I am. Head Rush.
Hold on.
But the reality is, this country is made up of, you know, freedom of religion. Everybody can worship whatever they want, whoever they want. They can read whatever book they want, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, I grew up in Los Angeles. We have a lot of religious diversity here.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood. My mom's side of the family claims to be Jewish, but, you know, they're pretty hypocritical, you know, and that's always been my problem. And that's why I stay away from religion, is because I've run into this, you know, using religion for whatever kind of hierarchy in the community. I always admired organized religion in America for this community feeling, you know, where people could get together, whether it's once a week, twice a week, and have something in common that brings them together and gives them strength, you know. And that's a very, very positive thing. You know, it's like being in a band. You get on a tour bus together, you drive, and you feel great, and you feel strong, and you have camaraderie.
Yeah.
Because the biggest problem in the world that people suffer from is being lonely, you know. And our country's so big, especially when you go to the middle of the country, sometimes there's not another house for 10 miles, and then a house, and then a house. And so people really look forward to, on Sunday, congregating somewhere and seeing these people that they see every week. And if it's God, whatever it is that brings them together, it's only a good thing, you know. But you got to remember, it's the same in any business. When anything becomes a business, yes, there is some corrupt people here and there, and it makes everything look bad. But that's America, man. I mean, we deal with this constantly. Like me, my favorite saying in the world, and some of you are going to look at me sideways, is "Hail Satan," because to me, it doesn't mean diddly squat. It doesn't mean anything other than that shocked you, didn't it? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I get less crap for spouting that crap than Michael does for just being faithful. It's unbelievable. You get more crap for just doing your thing than I do for being a little snotty brat and screaming "Hail Satan" in the middle of the street. You know?
See, yeah, I get the most crap for being unfaithful, because that's the thing. I am unfaithful. I'm faithful in the sense that I've always stood my ground about my faith.
Yeah.
And I've never wavered from that. But I'm also, I want to be a real guy. So when I go on my page and with the picture of me smoking a cigar, people go nuts.
Right.
Really?
I hate that.
Oh God, man, dude. Or I was in Spain somewhere and I had a beer. It was a hot day. We're walking and I grabbed a beer and we were all hanging out. And I don't think to stir the pot, like, hey, let's get a picture of us with the beer so we can, you know, create some controversy here. I took a picture and posted it. And me having a beer, and people went nuts. And I lose followers. People literally say, "I'm done with you. I'm selling all my Striper albums."
You got to think that because, of your faith, people are looking for you to be unfaithful. They're looking for that moment.
Right.
Well, they are. But, I mean, here's the thing. I am unfaithful. I'm not perfect.
No,
I'm not God. I'm not perfect. So don't expect me to be.
You're Moses, man.
What's that?
You're Moses. You're in Guns and Moses.
I'm gonna talk about something else. We'll circle back to your Evil and Divine album, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Rocklahoma, and this goes to you, Tracii, because you kind of forefronted the very first Rocklahoma, in 2007. Well, you were kind of one of the main guys that were doing the press, before you guys came here in 2007, and you're playing in the multiple bands. I think you did on the Thursday night, and then the LA Guns with Paul Black. But I hung out and talked with you a little bit. You might not remember me, but we did play that show as well. And
nice.
I just wanted to say thank you for bringing, helping with that and just coming to Oklahoma, because now it's just like a yearly thing, and it's like for us it's now a tradition yearly that we get to go to Rocklahoma. And you kind of I think that I was reading the press back in the day when it was first coming out, and you were kind of one of the guys that was spearheading that.
Yeah, it was like the spokesperson. And the coolest thing about that, Michael, I don't know if you're aware, but the first Rocklahoma was the 100th anniversary of Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like a music festival to celebrate, this anniversary.
Right.
And Rob Miller.
The state of Oklahoma.
The state of Oklahoma.
Wow.
So this guy, Rob Miller, who was working on the part of the team, contacted me and says, "Hey, we want you to kind of be the spokesman for this thing you're doing." And I was like, "Sure. Okay." So what we did is I went around doing, interviews on local news stations and stuff like that, and doing like meet and greets at Riley's Auto Parts. Like there's a million Riley's Auto Parts around there. And that's when my ex was pregnant with Jagger, my oldest son then, and she was out there too, with her belly like, and I'll never forget any. That was really, really, really something that nobody knew what was going to happen, and really turned into an annual thing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Let me tell you my history really quickly of Oklahoma. My mom was born there.
Wow.
My grandmother was born there. So that side of the family, my mom's side, they're all from Oklahoma, from Oklahoma City and Newport.
Oklahoma connection.
And we relocated, and I lived in Oklahoma for a year. It was the worst year of my life. Literally. I was in the 3rd grade, and it was snowing, and I started school late, and I got paddled in front of the class, and it was just awful. I just hated it. But anyway, Oklahoma, I've got a lot of roots there, and we wound up playing Rocklahoma as well, and I think it was 2010.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've actually played Streets Gone Wild here too, and was it like 2015, and you guys were the best band that day.
Yes.
And I sit and watch the whole show, probably for most of the bands. And I remember going in Striper. It was, first of all, you guys still had the 4 original members. And I'm like, you're the only band here that has the 4 original members.
Hey, she's wearing Streets Gone Wild.
Oh yeah, she's wearing the shirt.
Right there.
So
I can't see it. I'm blind, but yes.
So yeah, you guys did that too. You guys were killer that day.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you, buddy. I always feel like we suck, but if we can not suck as much as the last show, I'm happy.
Right.
And I remember that. I remember playing that show. That was a fun show. Definitely a fun show. And but it's no more. They're not doing that anymore, right?
No, I don't think they've done it in a few years. No.
But you guys have played IDL Ballroom, and that's with our friend Doug Burgess, which you guys also know. And I got to open up for LA Guns there at the IDL Ballroom, and that was really cool. And then we saw you at the IDL Ballroom as well, and both bands just knocked it out of the park. Yeah. So I just want to let you know that. So I think like the small kind of club thing, you guys really kind of dig that, I think. I mean, of course you love those big shows, but...
You're saying
how cool would it be if Striper and LA Guns do some shows together?
Yes.
That would be killer.
And then we shorten our sets just a little bit.
He's
and before both of those bands, we come out and do even if it's 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah, that would be so
great
cool.
idea.
I mean, right? That would be pretty cool.
That's a
Guys,
good
I
idea.
think we just put a tour together right
Yes.
here. This is exciting breaking news. I like it.
You know what's crazy, Tracii, is I have the history with you. I don't know if you remember, and probably not because you've been everywhere.
I don't remember yesterday, man.
All right. So,
Neither do
1988, you guys came to Tulsa. You guys played Kane's Ballroom for the first time.
I do remember that.
So that's a picture of me standing in front of, I guess, Mick and Kelly's stuff. And then here's the crazy part. This was April of 1988 on the left. On the right, you came to IDL in 2018. It was literally 30 years to the month. So that was really cool. So it's kind of a big full circle thing. That's pretty cool.
IDL has way better air conditioning.
Absolutely. They remodeled the Kane's Ballroom. It's way nicer now.
Dude, put up the picture of LA Guns, the old picture that you just had.
The old one?
The one.
Give me one second.
Where's Tracii? Where's Tracii?
That wasn't.
So the one on the left is my band. That's me. That's me.
I told you I'm blind.
That's me standing in front of their stuff, and then Tracii and I, as older gentlemen.
That's funny.
Okay, now I got you, because I wanted you to point out Tracii, so obviously that's not Tracii. It was on the right.
Now, when Phil Lewis, he did his acoustic show here in Tulsa, he actually came to our house and sat right here in his chair and did an interview with us on the Tulsa Music Stream.
He
so
was great.
It's a small circle. Now it's a small world.
Yeah.
He's easily led by the hand. You know?
And if you want to hear an even funnier story, Jana's got a story about Oz Fox.
Yeah, and I saw him years after this happened. And, you know, we little people, we don't expect you guys to remember the thousands and thousands of encounters that you have with us fans. But my dad was a nervy guy, and he somehow got a hold of you guys' management on your Against the Law tour. And Oz Fox came over, and my mother cooked lasagna for him, and he ate dinner with us. And that was incredible. And that actually leads me to, I need to ask you, how is Oz doing?
He's doing really well.
Good.
I mean, believe it or not, he bounced back so quick, and the surgery was flawless. He's doing fantastic. And obviously the big scare was the C word.
Yes.
And because it's a low-grade tumor, you know, we're all assuming in pretty much, it's not 100% confirmed, but we're pretty certain that it's not cancer, which is great news.
Good.
And he has another surgery to get through, and that is happening probably sometime in July, maybe August.
Okay.
And that's going to be maybe, you know, it could be potentially a 12-week, 16-week healing process.
Okay.
So that makes total sense why you guys are just kind of putting the brakes on any more shows for the rest of the year. then.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, in between surgeries, we're doing, in just 3 weeks, they're all coming out here where I'm sitting in this room, and we're going to rehearse and do 2 live albums at the studio we record at. Get that done before his surgery, and that he wants to do that. We're not forcing him to do that. He's ready and willing to do that.
That's great, man. That's great.
Yeah,
Cool. So back to the album, Sunbomb, Evil and Divine, production. Now, was that you, Tracii? Did you do all the production, or did Mitch help you with that as well?
Okay, I'll tell you how we made this record. I sat on the living room of this apartment that me and my wife lived in 2018, and I had an artificial drum track. I wrote all the music to these artificial drum tracks. And then I was like, okay, this is enough music for a heavy metal album here. And I started sending the tracks to Adam Hamilton, who played drums on there. And he started just drumming. We didn't know exactly what we were doing yet, you know. But I told him that everything we do has to be, you know, album quality, ready to go. You know, no rushing, no pulling. Everything has to be nice and sound like a band. So we did that, and we pretty much finished that record. And Adam and I had never gotten together once either, and got everything done, you know, and then sent it to Michael when it was virtually done, you know, but there was no Adam has a nice studio where he recorded the drums, but all the guitars were recorded direct with the head.
Yes.
Is that right?
Wow.
Which is awesome,
yeah,
which
yeah.
makes it even more awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I dialed in that tone, and I said, I'm going to write a record. And I was using my Rick Nielsen 59 Les Paul.
Wow.
That's it.
Heck yeah.
One guitar, one sound, except the ballad. I had to dust off an acoustic and go, okay, I'm going to do this. Then Michael got it, and then Adam mixed it after Michael had his way with it.
Wow.
Yeah,
that was it.
exactly. I got everything, all the tracks pretty much done, and I did the vocals, and there were little differences here and there from the melodies. Some melodies were rewritten, lyrics were rewritten along the way, here and there. And then when I got them, I kind of tried to do my own thing with them, yet stay in that wheelhouse of what I received, because I didn't want to totally change everything, but yet it had to fit what I do. Like I was explaining earlier, I'm not an AC/DC style singer, a throaty singer. I'm more of a chesty kind of different approach, so it had to fit what I do. So I feel like I was able to do that. And my prayers were like, oh, gosh, I hope these guys like it. And then I think the first text I got from Trace was, what did you say in your first text to me? Exactly.
Holy shit.
So when I got that, it was like, I felt like, okay,
Sure.
well, I hope he likes the rest, and thankfully, he did. And, and then you just hope that everyone else, it resonates with everybody else and they all get it and like it.
Awesome.
Well, the first songs that I turned in, Michael, were like Take Me Away and the other really dirgy one, right?
Right.
So Serafino got those first, right? With no vocals, no lyrics, just like, and he writes me back, what is this? Is this some sort of experiment?
Oh my gosh.
He goes, you'll see. Now they love it, obviously. But, I always have a really tumultuous relationship with labels, because labels always have one vision and I always have another vision, because their vision is always based on the last thing I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, he did this, so now he's going to do this again. And it's like, no, I'm making a left turn and going this way. Just hang on and we'll get there, So it's been really fun. And like Michael said, we hoped people liked it, but the coolest thing about it is that we made a record that's kind of like a guilty pleasure record for us. It's like I got to have this sound. I got to sing like this.
Yeah, you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
There's a freedom to that. And hey, I got to say this, two things added to what Tracii just said. Funny story with Serafino. I get this all the time. This question: is it melodic? That word melodic.
Always.
Melodic. And I would say this is a melodic record, but this is it's a different type of melodic, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely on the darker side, which is cool.
Right.
Well, I mean, melodic is such a broad thing to say, but we know what he means. He really likes the stuff that's
Roller coaster.
more of the Journey-esque major sounding melodic kind of stuff, which is great, but
awesome.
This record isn't that, which is really cool.
Now, I have a double question here. I'll go with you, Michael, first. Now, you had a project with George Lynch, and I want to know, going into this project with Tracii, are there any comparisons to the two? Any differences that you were like kind of sparked out to you right away?
Yeah, I mean, they're very different. The Sweet and Lynch stuff is more of that, as I was just talking about, the melodic, major melodies, and I don't want to say prettier, but more of that whole major, 3-part harmony thing going on, that kind of thing. And this is definitely has more. It's much heavier, darker, old school kind of vibe, and more raw in your face.
It is.
Not a lot of overdubs with the instruments or the vocals, really, which is really cool. There's something that's kind of a lost art, in my opinion.
Do
a lot of those great records from the '70s had that.
Right. I mean, and that was my thing, and I said it right from the beginning. Like, I have an opportunity to make a record that I would have liked to make when I was 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that includes, you know, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and Van Halen, and you know, Scorpions and all this stuff. And the one thing that those bands all kind of had in common was, you know, limited amount of production.
Right.
Because the more you limit the production, the more powerful the music. Because I mean, if you listen to like Smoke on the Water, the original recording of it, the reason it's so powerful is because it's so bare. You know, there's a keyboard, there's a guitar that you can barely hear, bass and drums, and then Ian Gillan all the way on top. Yeah. And that's kind of how this record is production-wise. Is it's like, you know, guitar left and right, maybe, guitar solos, very little keyboards, stereo drums, and Michael's on top. He's on top. You know, so like everything frequency-wise is as it should be. You know, it's not like us trying to stuff Elvis crooning in the middle of all this mid-range music. You know, it's like really nice, and that's a typical 70s metal, early 80s metal thing.
Right.
You got a friend next to you, man.
Awesome.
I want to go back to what I asked you originally, Michael, when Tracii joined. When you're writing, say, outside of Stryper, how do you approach the say the Lynch stuff, and how do you approach it? The same way, or you know, where do you pull your topic matter from?
This album was just different in the sense that, you know, all the music came, and the lyrics and the melodies came. So all that stuff was already done, and then it was a matter of tweaking and fine tuning stuff lyrically and melodically along the way. With the Sweet and Lynch stuff, George just literally sends me a guitar and a bass track and a drum program track. That's an intro, verse, chorus, and then it shuts off. Like da 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 da, and I'm like, okay, what do I do with this?
Right.
And then what I had to do with that is go into the studio and dial in the same guitar tone that George had and record what wasn't there. So the sections that weren't there, the bridge sections and whatnot, I had to record those and add those and complete the songs. So it was a lot more work, you know, it was a lot of work, but in the end, it wound up really being cool. And then on the second Sweet and Lynch album, we talked about that, and George sent me more complete songs, but it was really nice getting stuff from Trace that was complete, you know, and the bed was there, everything was there.
Now, Jan, I think you had a question.
Yeah,
And then we'll, if you guys don't mind, there's some people in the chat room that's asking some questions. Ask some questions, and then we can let you guys go.
Yes,
kind of thing.
Yes.
Sure.
I just wanted to ask you guys, you know, these collaborations are coming out so awesome, all of them. Do both of you guys actively seek different collaborations with different musicians, or do they usually just kind of happen by chance?
Trace, why don't you go first, brother?
Well, I mean, with me, like LA Guns was a collaboration, right? You know, from the beginning, you know, it was like, hey, I want to play with that guy. I want to play with this guy. I want to do this. I want to try that, you know, and I've always ended up in kind of these like really nice bonds with different people because I'm naive and I just ask, you know, It was like, hey, you want to do an album? Hey, you want to be in a band? You want to do this? So in the past, that's how it's kind of been. But with this, I was put on the spot. It was Serafino, you know. We want you to make a solo album. Yes or yes? Yeah, like, yes, you know. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I'm definitely not going to make an instrumental record. So I wrote like 3 or 4 of these tracks, and I sent one to Michael. I said, hey, what do you think of this? And he goes, what is this? I go, it's me. He goes, you want to sing on it? And he goes, yeah. I go, well, what if I do 11 of these, you know, the record. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I'll do it. And that's how this one happened.
Right.
So cool.
It's nice.
Well, I think the album is just amazing, and it rocks. It's brutal. It sounds like razor blades. The guitar tone is just perfect, and everything vocal style is just top notch. So you guys did yourself proud on this album.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, Tracii, I've been watching.
I'm glad you guys like it.
Thank you.
Tracii, I've been watching your guitar videos that you've been posting. I got a question. How many guitar heads do you actually have?
I don't know.
Holy hell, dude.
Head rush.
I saw that wall behind you, and I was like, holy shit, look at some of the stuff on there.
It's funny because sometimes in the room where those amps are, I think about selling them all the time because I don't use them very much, and I know that in the guitar room there's 27 heads in that room. Because I just kind of go 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and I would come up with I could probably make 25 grand off these. So that's kind of why I know what's in there. But then I have a whole nother place that's wow. And all it does is take up space. It's great stuff. I don't know why I have it.
It was pretty. I was listening to what you were playing, but my eyes were somewhere else. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for Instagram. It really is. And,
sure.
And it's great for doing I did the Pete Thorne podcast, and he came here, and we kind of I started yanking things off the wall and pedals and things like that.
Right.
But I mean, there's for me, it's more at this point, it's very nostalgic for me. I'm so into 50s, 60s, and 70s music that I have things from all those times in there that I know make a sound that I want to record that I'm never going to record. You know what I mean? Sure. And that's where the thing is. And my wife, she's an audio archivist. She's a music archivist. From the early 1900s to present. And she's obsessed with, sound equipment and all these things. Yep. But even she's you just don't need that stuff, And so, yeah, I have a lot of equipment, but I've really boiled down to what I use as a head rush, And,
That's cool.
And for live, I run them through VHT amps, and that's it. I mean,
okay. One more gear question, and then we're going to get to the viewer comments, and then we're going to let you guys go. Thank you for an awesome interview. Michael, I have a guitar player friend. He wanted to ask about you. You're endorsed by Sully Guitars, is that correct?
I am now.
You are now?
So I was with Washburn for a while, and the agreement ran out. The time on the agreement ran up, and my key guy there left, and I wound up going with Sully Guitars, because they're very close to the original Jackson guitars that I played.
Nice.
Way back then.
Very cool.
Sully's an awesome guy.
Yeah. He's an awesome guy, and he makes amazing guitars. He really puts everything into each guitar, and it shows. I mean, they're super high quality, amazing guitars, and we're releasing very, very soon. We're going to announce it, Michael Sweet model, which is really
very
exciting.
Cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Did you play any guitar on the album?
I did not.
Wow.
I did not, but you know what? That's nice, and it's liberating, because it feels good to just sing. And with the Striper stuff, I play guitar on the albums as well, and there's a lot more work involved with that. It's twofold, and it's exhausting, after you get all your tracks done and whatnot, and it just feels good to do one or the other from time to time.
Well, you're an amazing guitar player as well.
Yes, he is.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
So we're going to get to some chat comments here. There's a guy in the chat room. His name's Tim Hewitt. He's asking, what type of cigars do you smoke?
Oh, man. I'm such a novice, I don't even know what kind of cigars I smoke. I smoke whatever anybody hands me. I mean, Cohibas, acid, Monte Cristos. I mean, whatever I'm given.
Right.
Here's another question for you guys from, I hope I'm saying this right, Bill Scahill. Loves the debut Sunbomb album. He wants to know if there's any material for a second Sunbomb album in the can.
We're recording it now, right, Tracii? You want to start now?
Yeah, that's it. That's
the ticket.
Hey, you think this one's heavy? Wait till you hear the next one. We'll get to it.
Right.
Yeah, at some point there's going to be another album, or who knows, maybe a few. And at some point in time, Lord willing, if we're here on Earth, breathing and eating and drinking, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Another question says, will Striper release another studio album?
Yes, we start recording that studio album in January.
Awesome. Michael, here's one more. Here's one more for you, Michael, from Jason Fritz. He says, what song are you tired of playing live, and why?
Oh man, gosh. Probably, honestly, the biggest Striper song ever.
Right.
It just because you play it so many times, it just starts to feel redundant and recycled. You never want any song to feel that way. That's one of yours because they're all your little babies. But sometimes that happens, and that's probably the one that I get a little tired of playing live.
Yeah,
Sure.
I heard.
Which song is Robert tired of playing?
Take It to the Cross.
Yes, he is.
I once heard Billy Joel say he was so tired of just the way you are. He would sing a line. He'd be at the piano. He'd sing a line. Don't go changing. God, I wonder if I'm going to have the meatloaf tonight or if I'm going to have, He would be thinking about dinner and other things in between each line. It's so crazy. You're not at that point yet, are you?
No.
Okay.
No, but Tracii was referring to. Tracii came out to a show and played with us at the Whiskey, and there's a song that we play. It puts the fear of God into Robert,
Yeah.
like deer in the headlights. And Robert, when he's playing at the end of the night, he wants to just go to the bus and put on his pajamas, and that's it. He's done. And if the crowd's going a little extra wild, they want to hear more. We'll tease him every night. We'll say, "Hey, John Stinson will say, Rob, we're doing Take It to the Cross," and man, it's the look on his face is to die for. It's hilarious.
Yeah, you guys used to kind of when it first came out. Didn't you guys do it first or second in the set? And then
I think we did it first.
Yeah, I mean it was like whoa,
We did it first, yeah.
And then I noticed that it kind of got okay.
Yeah.
Jason,
But imagine doing that at the end for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's not really that difficult a song, but for Rob, he gets
powerful.
really fearful that for some reason there's some kind of subconscious thing too,
Right.
Jason Fritz in the chat room says hello, and he says, I love the heavier and darker sound of Sunbomb.
Yes.
This guy says, been a singer in rock today. His name is James Bradley Blackwell, my favorite guitarist together. Okay?
Absolutely. And here's a good one for Tracii from Bill Scahill again. He says, any release date for a new LA Guns album?
November 12th.
November
Check it out.
12th. Very
So
good.
it's all in the can. It's done.
Done. Everything's
Awesome.
Wow.
done. Yeah.
And hey, man, I know you can't talk much about it, but how are you pretty happy with it? How's it sounding?
It's amazing, especially because, I did those 2 LA Guns records and I did Sunbomb. Now I have no pressure to try to do anything in that exact wheelhouse. So
Awesome.
we put a single out over a year ago off this record called Let You Down, which is like super dark, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But Phil sings in this mid register, and he's not getting any younger, and we want to do this for a long time. So the new album, of course, it has some very heavy stuff on it, but it has a lot of more organic LA Guns sounding stuff.
cool.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to equate it with like Hollywood Vampires because it's way heavier than that. It's just a little bit more focused in a way in sections. So let's just say there's 3 different types of music on the new LA Guns record.
Wow,
That's
that's
awesome.
very cool.
This, that, and it was the same thing that Michael and I did. It was like I was in Denmark, and I was writing tunes, sending them back. Adam played drums on it, and
Nice.
wow. But these records done this way because you're not like this crazy critical thing because you're not under like a time restraint.
Yeah.
I don't have to second guess anything. I'm like, man, that's
Exactly.
not done. I can
Exactly.
get this a little together and da 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 da. So I think, just honestly, I'm definitely making the best records of my life right now.
Do you have
killed it, dude.
what's your favorite of the LA Guns records now that you have such a catalog? What's your favorite?
There's something about this record we did called Waking the Dead, which came out in 2000. To me, that just kind of ends our, sleazy rock kind of musical persona, and this gets right into the metal. It gets right into the meat and bones of what the music's supposed to be about, without trying to project an image or trying to fit in anywhere. It's just like music.
Right.
And so that, to me, that's like the defining LA Guns record for me. The last 2 records, for obvious reasons, are heads above anything else we did just because of of musicianship, because
Yes.
of experience, because of whatever, and our fans respond well to LA Guns music, so.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like we said at the top of this interview, you guys are both at the top of your game right now, and I don't think that can even be disputed. And you've certainly been gracious with your time tonight. You've given us a full hour, which is a lot more than we expected. And we want to say thank you to both Michael Sweet and Tracii Guns. We also want to thank Doug Burgess from DEB Concerts
Thanks, Doug.
for helping us hook this up and facilitate it. Guys, is there anything you want to say?
Well-
Any parting words? But I guess Scott has one more
Yeah.
thing here.
So since you're hooked up with Doug, maybe he can bring you to both you guys to Rocklahoma and play on Doug's stage. That would be awesome. Have
Yes.
LA Guns and Striper, and then maybe you guys can do some Sun Bomb stuff in between.
Heck
That'd
yeah.
be killer, man.
And
That
then
way
you
will
can-
come.
Then
When
we'll
we do
come.
that.
We'll come record an album. With
We
you guys,
will
too.
jam some of these songs live at some point for sure.
That's
Yeah,
great.
well,
awesome.
I mean, if for nothing else, just so you can say, how y'all doing tonight? We are Guns and Moses.
And you know I'm going to say that, right?
Fantastic.
I do know.
Michael Sweet, Tracii Guns, thank you fellas so much for your time. We're going to make sure that we pop up the album cover one more time here. Sun Bomb, Evil and Divine on Frontier Records. Please make sure you guys get out, grab a copy, support these guys, and fellas, we're just so pleased to have you on, and we're so proud of where you're at in your careers. Just keep on rocking, and know that the people here in Tulsa, Oklahoma are behind you guys 100%.
And
Thank
also,
you, guys.
congratulations on Spotify. Your the charts on Spotify. I see you posting those, and so congratulations on your numbers going up on Spotify and all, and Apple Music and everything. A wonderful album, guys. Go out there and buy the album. It's Sun Bomb. It's Evil and Divine.
Thanks, guys. It was great talking
Thank
to
you so much, you guys.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Thank you
Trace,
guys.
dude, have a good night, bro.
You
All
too.
right.
Brother,
Guns and
I'll talk to you.
Moses.
I'll send you something.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye, fellas.
Bye.
Thank you. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There you go.
Awesome.
That was great.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, hey. Sorry.
Wow.
Got a
So
little
cool.
reminder.
Well, welcome back to
Whew.
full screen of the Tulsa Music Stream. That was an extraordinary interview
Yep.
with Tracii Guns and Michael Sweet. That was one of the coolest interviews we've ever done. That was our very first Zoom interview that
Yeah,
we've
worked out
actually
well.
worked out, especially on these type of circumstances. It was nerve-wracking knowing that Tracii wasn't in right away, so
Yeah.
we thought maybe it was something on our end.
Nope.
So we were just trying to just come up with some fluff there in the beginning, and
I think we worked it out. Okay.
You
Yeah,
guys
we
are
worked
good
it
at
out.
fluff. Yeah, you're good at fluff. I did see some comments, and we'll take this off the air, but I think everybody heard the guests well. I think we had kind of some chorusy type effects on our vocals, apparently.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to go check that out.
Yeah.
Oh.
It might have been I don't know.
Who knows?
The connection, the Zoom.
We'll have to. Hey, this is a good point in the show where I do need to do this if I can find it. Thank you to Adam Richmond for making the Zoom calls possible for us. That Zoom call was powered by Surviving Rocklahoma. We also want to again, Doug Burgess from DEB Concerts. Thank you for facilitating that interview with Michael and Tracii. Please make sure you check out Lita Ford at the Ideal Ballroom on Saturday, June 26th. Doors at 7, show at 8. $30 in advance, $35 at the door. Special guest Straight Shot that night. Thanks to Identity Merch handling our online store. Pick up some shirts because, hey, this show just interviewed Michael Sweet and Tracii Guns, and you need to wear a shirt.
Hey, and check it out. That was our first back-to-back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a good couple of days, man. We had Rick Fox and Jamin and Dusty yesterday.
It's been an action-packed week, a couple of days for sure. Last sponsor, GregShipman.com. Thank you guys for your support of the stream. Make sure you check out their photography and video services for anything you might need. Let me find, where's our screen? There we are. There we are. So anyway, guys, we do appreciate.
High fives, everybody.
Appreciate
That was awesome.
That was good times.
He was, they were just so warm and cool. They were just ready. I think they could have hung out for another hour.
Yeah.
We're going to invite him over.
And we didn't even talk much about, LA Guns and Striper albums or anything like that. And there was a couple of questions that I wanted to ask, but that's okay.
I felt like an hour. An hour was. We had asked for 30 minutes, and we got an hour. So
Yeah.
I wanted to be courteous and let them have their evenings, but Anyway, thank you again, Doug Burgess, for helping
Thanks,
us make that.
appreciate it, man.
We did have our one fanboy moment, so that was cool. We didn't go too fanboy.
No.
What was your fanboy moment?
Well, we were talking about our pictures and.
Oh, just our experience,
yeah.
our full circle moments, you mean?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, we call this for full circle, not fanboy.
Okay. Well, fangirl.
Okay.
Yeah, fangirl.
I tried not to do that.
But no, 2 shows in a row, man, and both were really good.
Ooh, they
and,
were.
yeah.
And you know what? Let me borrow your paperwork here because I do want to. Oh, that's the wrong one.
What are you looking for?
Well, I was going to try to tell them. I mean, you guys, stuff's just kind of going awesome right now, and we've got some other amazing. I really failed not bringing the paperwork that says the dates of our next shows, but
Well, I know we have Sebastian Duke coming up.
May.
I want to say that's May 28th. And then we also have Rudy Sarzo. And
That's June 12th.
yeah. So we got some amazing. So if you guys are new to the stream, just hit follow. We also have a YouTube channel. Just hit subscribe to that as well, and then every time we upload a video, you'll see it if you don't come in live with us. But if you follow and like our Tulsa Music Stream page, you'll always get the invites to the stream, and as well as our group. Tulsa Music Stream group. Go in there and hang out with us, and we take pictures of shirts and things like that.
And our food, too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, also don't forget on June 13th is the Motley Crue tribute
Yes.
that we are doing at the IDL Ballroom. I'm not sure how many tickets are left, but this is going to be a great show, man. This is really going to be cool.
It really is.
So many kick-ass musicians
Yes.
playing a lot of really cool songs. So don't forget about that. June 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really cool.
And see, this right here is awesome. Steve Young, first-time listener. Welcome, Steve. We hope you'll come back and watch future episodes with us. Like the guy said, we're going to have Rudy Sarzo on. We're having Johnny D from Doro and Brittany Fox, as well as a bunch of awesome local musicians. I mean, stuff's rolling here, so join the party and let's have fun spotlighting all these amazing musicians.
And we're also trying to, nothing secured or anything, but I'll go ahead, and since we have some people in the room, we also are looking at getting Troy from Tesla.
Yes.
And possibly a Nickelback interview.
Yeah, we are working on both of those, and it's one of those deals where sometimes dominoes just start to fall, and they fall faster than you think they will. Tonight is an example of that. We wanted to jump all over this because those guys just released the Sunbomb album on Friday. It is so good. If you like metal, you gotta grab it because it's amazing. So. I don't have anything else unless you guys do. We'll sign
Guys,
off.
I just want to thank everybody in the chat room. We're sorry we couldn't get to all your questions. Those guys were just, hammering away at their answers, and they were just kind of goofing off. You can tell they personally really like each other.
Yes,
you know?
they
yeah,
do.
yeah.
And that was one of the questions I wanted to ask them is what did they learn from one another and all those things. But you can tell they had a lot of respect for each other, and they're really kind of silly.
I was almost under the impression maybe they haven't talked in a while, and it was neat to see them connecting, on our show. That was really cool. Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
And thank you, Mary Beth Reeves, for joining the chat room.
Yep,
Laura Dobbs, thank you. Great job, she says. Catherine Potter, we love you guys. Tim Hewitt, thank you. Carrie Lee says that was freaking amazing. Steve Dock says, great job, guys. Thank you guys. Thank all of you guys. Just, like I said, follow and like our page and just come into the chat room and
Tell us what.
help us out. We love the support. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, first, to me, it's like finally, we have a show where we can, give these guys a platform and three, hosts that really kind of know their shit,
I mean,
Well,
this
you
is
two do.
this is the type of music we were raised and grew up on. So, sometimes you hear interviews from big major radio stations, and sometimes they just, don't really know didn't do their homework or whatever. But we don't really have to do a whole lot of homework because we just know so much. But
Well, it's just ingrained, and I mean, the way both of you guys are wired, you're like walking encyclopedias. You absorb all the stuff about your heroes, and I do too. And that was a treat for me. I mean, anyone who knows me knows what an influence Stryper was on my life and so many other lives out there. And wow,
You want to hear something crazy? It's when CDs first came out.
So now they're saying an echo that's going on, so I'm not sure what that's all about.
When CDs became available in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, the first 2 CDs I ever owned were the Whitesnake album with Still the Night and Here I Go Again. And then the other one was To Hell with the Devil. And that was the first 2 CDs I had.
That's pretty good. That was another thing we didn't get to ask. They just celebrated the 36th anniversary of Soldiers Under Command.
Oh, I saw that
It was
on
over the
on the
weekend.
Facebooks, yeah.
Man, I wanted to ask about that. Oh, well.
Cool.
Next
Well,
time.
thank you guys for joining and spending some time with us, and we'll check out what's going on with the reverb situation.
Keep
and,
buying the shirts.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It's the Tulsa Music Stream, and we love you guys, so take care.
We'll see you very soon. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody.
He's gonna be on Facebook all night. Look at this shit.
I can't force myself.
I know. I got it.
Yes. Big city. I'm going to town.